record. Just gonna give a moment to let everyone in the waiting room and from the waiting.
Now I gotta, I'm gonna continue moving around. I'm gonna turn the video off, but I can hear.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa.
I gotta finish packing.
I'm gonna mute you, Lisa. Good afternoon. This is a hearing before the Boston Cannabis Board. Today is February 16th, 2022. Today's hearing is being conducted pursuant to certain temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. This hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. Before I review some procedural matters, I will introduce Chairwoman Kathleen Joyce.
Good afternoon. My name is Kathleen Joyce, and I am Chair of the Boston Cannabis Board, and welcome to our February voting meeting. Today, I'm joined by Commissioners Lisa Holmes, Commissioner John Smith, Commissioner Darlene Lombos, and Commissioner Alejandra Sankian.
Thank you, Chairwoman Joyce. And my name is Jasmine Nguyen, and I am the Boston Cannabis Board Manager. While the public is encouraged to attend the hearing, no additional public testimony will be accepted. I will read each item into the record. After, I will ask for comments from the board members, and then I will ask for a motion, any questions on the motion, and then we will vote. Each member has the ability to grant with conditions, defer, reject without prejudice, which means the applicant can return anytime with an application at the same location, or reject with prejudice, which means the applicant cannot reapply at the same location for a year. As a reminder, items number 5, Hyde Park Dispensary LLC, and number 9, Rooted In LLC, have been rescheduled to the BCB's March 9th agenda. The first item we have is Core Empowerment LLC. The license premise is 401 Center Street, Jamaica Plain. The license type is a recreational cannabis dispensary license. And this is an amendment to remove condition number 7 on the license, which states the company agrees to the presentations it made to the community regarding a shared valet zone, a pickup drop-off zone, and police details. The applicant also requested to amend the operating hours from Monday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. to Monday through Sunday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. We will start with comments from the board members. Chairwoman Joyce.
I have no issues with these two requests to remove the valet zone and to increase the hours by 3 hours.
Okay. Commissioner Lombos.
No questions, thanks, or no comments.
Commissioner Smith.
Thanks, Jasmine. No issues here. Thank you.
Commissioner Holmes.
No issues, all set. Thank you.
Commissioner Sankian.
No issues, thank you.
Chairwoman Joyce, is there a motion?
Yes, I make a motion to approve these two changes that were requested in this application.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And none opposed. So it's great. Perfect. Next, items 2, 3, and 4 are all related, so I'll read all 3 items into the record together. The applicant is Herber C3 Dorchester LLC. The license premise is 43 Freeport Street, Dorchester. The next one is Mass Citizens for Social Equity LLC. The license premise is 561 Dudley Street, Roxbury. And the third one is Mass Citizens for Social Equity LLC, 3995 to 3997 Washington Street, Rosendale. All 3 are recreational cannabis dispensary licenses, and they're all 3 requesting to add the DBA high profile by Bodega. Chairwoman Joyce.
Thanks, Jasmine. These are administrative changes that have already been approved by the CCC. I see no issues.
Commissioner Lombos.
No issues here either.
Commissioner Smith.
Thanks, Jasmine. No issues here.
Commissioner Sankian.
No issues, thank you.
Commissioner Holmes.
No issues, thank you.
Chairwoman Joyce, is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the change of DBA for all 3.
Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor? And none opposed. So all 3 matters have been approved to add the DBA. Next, we have High Street Cannabis Group LLC. The proposed license premise is 200 High Street downtown. The license type is a recreational cannabis dispensary license. The proposed hours are 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. This is an equity applicant. The initial application was filed June 15, 2021. The date of filing with Inspection Services was June 10, 2021, and the community meeting was November 10, 2021. There is a buffer zone conflict with another cannabis establishment. Chairwoman Joyce?
Thank you, Jasmine. This is very exciting to see another equity applicant looking to open up downtown. It's something I've always had my eye on since the start of this cannabis board. They scored very high in every category for me. I just want to note that one of the subcategories in location is the distance from a licensed retail marijuana establishment, and that is the one subcategory that they did not receive a 5 out of 5 as far as location. I just want to speak to that for a minute. I realize there is a buffer zone issue. There are 2 other places within the buffer zone that we have previously approved. Putting on my licensing hat for a moment, I want to state for the record that I don't take competition into consideration when I look at these when we're the citing authority. I do look at the entire application, the type of support they've had. I give consideration to the fact that this is an equity applicant with an established record. To me, this is distinct than clustering or creating a green mile. To me, 3 of these places downtown is different than 3 places on Neponset Ave in Dorchester. I think there's enough foot traffic, and I think that this neighborhood could support this establishment.
Commissioner Ramos?
Chairwoman Joyce was very thorough. I do not have any additional comments except that I agree.
Commissioner Smith?
Thanks, Jasmine. Yeah, Commissioner Joyce was very thorough. I will, however, say that I think it's interesting, where I will run into this issue because I think there will be clustering in other areas in other parts of the city, including downtown. But I do think that we should be mindful of, these are 3 equity applicants. We had, I think, Roster Roots, Verdant, and now High Street. And
Rasta is in equity.
No, which one?
Rasta is non-equity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I think we have these 3. So 2 of them are equity.
Mhm.
And I wonder, I did, unlike Commissioner Joyce, I did kind of think about the competition, but then I also thought, okay, you have 3 coffee shops in the same, sometimes blocks from each other, or other places. So it will be a little bit more competitive. And if we're thinking about equity applicants and we're clustering, do we put them at odds with each other to the point where it gets a little bit more saturated? Does it take away business from them? So I think, yeah. So that's the only comment I would make for the record.
Okay. Commissioner Holmes?
Well, I agree with the chairwoman. I think there's quite enough foot traffic in that area to sustain the 3 businesses. So that's my only comment. I realize that there are some others in the area, but I do think that the foot traffic and the space between these, I think, is also going to attract different clientele from different sides of downtown. So I don't see a problem there.
Commissioner Sangian?
Thank you. So I have to disagree a bit. In terms of the application and the applicant, 100%, I felt, strong applicant. Really loved everyone that was part of the team, commitment to diversity and so forth was strong. I do have concerns about the amount of applicants that we're putting forward within the buffer zone that are then getting denied at the zoning board. And I think that, I feel like this, obviously I don't know what their decision would be on this. But having seen one just last week, almost last week or 2 weeks ago, get rejected, that we put forward very strongly as, meeting all the requirements of being within the buffer zone. I don't know that this location is the best. I do understand that downtown can be pretty busy. This is kind of a different part of, it's not necessarily downtown, but more of the Wharf District. And so I just, and given there's just a slow reentry of people back at the office. I don't know that it supports I don't know that the foot traffic supports the need for 3 within such a short distance. It's like a stone's throw away. So I just, those are my concerns. If this were, in the Seaport or a little bit over, perhaps there would be a greater need. I just, with 2 opening and still not, the density that exists pre-COVID. And also my concern that the zoning board, has been particularly diligent in not improving. And I don't know how much of that is
I would
misunderstanding.
disagree that they're being diligent. I would
Oh,
argue
diligent,
that they're-
maybe
you said
not
diligent. I would argue that they actually don't take into consideration our votes most times.
Yes, that's what I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Commissioner. I've been watching them and I told
Yeah.
diligent was the wrong word, more like not considering, our own subject knowledge on the matter of density and buffer zone. So I for those reasons, I just at this time I wouldn't feel comfortable supporting the establishment at this location. Again, love the applicant.
Again, we're charged with looking at the location and not taking into consideration what the ZBA might do in the future.
Right.
A lot of things
No.
like landlords could pull out, that we've just
Right.
heard examples of that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all we can do is vote as a citing authority, and we are required to cite a minimum of 53, I believe. And I think
Yeah.
that might get lost sometimes in translation up
Yeah.
at the ZBA.
Yeah.
And they are charged with doing different things. So
Right.
I think
Yeah.
it's an education component, and
Yeah.
I know my staff is working directly with some of their staff
Yeah.
to see how we can improve our processes, but every decision of this board gets supported by a written decision to the ZBA.
Right.
And they are always welcome to listen in on any of our hearings, because I think all of our commissioners take a lot of time and take our role very seriously.
Yeah, no, and thank you for that, Commissioner, because I do understand that. And even a part that was, I guess, should have been more of a side note in general, but apart from that, at this point in time, I don't see it as a good site, given the other 2 locations and the slow economic recovery after post-COVID.
Okay.
Well, when
That's
we go.
good. And again, these things take time. Still have to get on the ZBA agenda. We could have an application next week that's 2
Yeah.
blocks away, and someone might feel differently.
Right.
But with that, I'm going to make a motion to grant this license conditional upon the ZBA clearing the buffer zone.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, and Commissioner Sankian, you're denying, rejecting? Rejected. That is noted on the record. Right. Motion carries, by the way. Next, we have the applicant is CNA Stores. The proposed license premise is 70 Von Hilleran Street, Dorchester. The license type is a recreational cannabis dispensary license. The proposed hours of operation are 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. This is a non-equity applicant. The initial application was filed October 4th, 2021. The filing with Inspectional Services was October 28th, 2020. And the community meeting was held November 30th, 2021. And there is a buffer zone conflict with another cannabis establishment. Chairwoman Joyce, do you have any comments?
Very few comments. I think it was a very strong application. I think this is the first application we had that is veteran owned, and I liked the entire application and the proposal.
I did too.
Commissioner Lobos?
Yeah, I was really impressed by just the support that they got. I really do think a veteran-owned shop, just having that be the first one was a strong proposal. Would very much like to support that. And I thought it was a strong overall scoring on my score sheet.
Commissioner Smith?
Thank you, Jasmine. Yeah, I think good application overall.
Commissioner Holmes?
I mirror the sentiments of my fellow commissioners. Very strong application. Again, I also was impressed that it's veteran-owned and some of the services that they were willing to provide. So yes, I 100% support.
Commissioner St.
I agree with my fellow commissioners on this one. I support it.
Chairwoman Joyce, is there a motion?
I make a motion to grant this applicant a license at this location.
Conditionally?
Conditional.
I'm sorry.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And none opposed. All right. And last, we have Berkshire Roots, Inc. The license premise is 251 and 253 Meridian Street, East Boston. The license type is a co-located medical and recreational cannabis dispensary. This is a non-equity applicant. The initial application was filed September 14, 2021. The filing with Inspectional Services was July 6, 2018. The community meeting was held September 30th, 2021. And they are also requesting to amend their hours of operation from Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., Sunday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., to Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Chairwoman Joyce?
I have no issues with the request to change the hours and to add medical at this location.
Okay. Commissioner Lambos?
Oh, I'm sorry, Chairman Joyce. I actually have a concern on this one. I usually agree with you. So I'm confused, but I do think that I was, the public meetings that had a lot, I know that they withdrew their delivery request, and then they had public meetings that had all three of those changes.
Yeah.
I actually do think they need to go back to the community and just, I'm not completely wedded to that, but I did think it was confusing for some, and was noted in the public comments, particularly, there was written and verbal that said to that, like pulling out one of the requests, and then, I don't know, I just felt like it was a little confusing. So they scored low on that part of it. On the public part, public support part, there was, I liked that they had good diversity and a good track record. So I don't have sort of issues on how they're operating. And I liked that they were able to share their percentages of employees and all that. So that's good. I like that track record, but I am concerned about the number of things that they wanted to change. And then their meeting was confusing to some. So I don't know if it's conditional or not, but those are my comments right now. So.
Commissioner Smith?
Thanks, Jasmine. No, I don't have any issues.
Commissioner Holmes?
No, I don't have any issues. I am listening to what my fellow commissioner is saying, and I didn't understand. I didn't get that, because I know I'm going to say this lady's name wrong, so I'm just going to say her first name, Miss Sandria, the lady that talked about, she was their direct abutter, and she had a lot of support for them. So I hear my fellow commissioners' concerns, and maybe I didn't pay enough attention to that, because I felt they had a lot of good community support. So that's just my comment. I'm fine with their proposal, though.
Commissioner St.
No further comments. I didn't have any issues with either.
Yeah.
Chairwoman Joyce?
So out of respect to Commissioner Lambos, I just wanted to talk that through. Would you like to separate the two, the adding medical and the hours, or would you like, they wouldn't have.
Oh, goodness, I don't have a recommendation. I'm sorry. I just was reviewing my notes and looking back at some of the public comment, and knowing that they had three things up in the public meeting, and then they withdrew something, and they noted that people didn't have a problem with some of the others, but I think that there was some,
Jasmine, do you have a record of the public meetings? That might help Commissioner Lambos. I do know at the last hearing, we did require them to go back and have a meeting if they wanted to continue with delivery, and they decided not to.
Yeah, so that's what happened. They apply for all three, the medical, hours, and delivery. Delivery and the hours got the pushback, not, the medicals seem to be fine with majority of people. And then I guess they just decided not to go forward with the delivery. So they didn't have that additional meeting that they were going to
Okay.
have because they pulled the delivery.
I see. Is
And
there,
I
is
got-
there a way?
Oh, I'm sorry. I
separate-
got the impression that they, because of the backlash, for lack of a better term, from the community, that's why they pulled the delivery.
Yeah.
Because the community wasn't happy with that part, right?
Yeah, there was some opposition as far as the hours as well, because
Yeah.
that would
Okay.
continue the traffic and the other concerns they already had. But the majority pushback was the delivery.
Okay.
I guess I'm fine with, I mean, maybe we can separate them out because I'm totally fine with the medical, adding the medical piece. I do think the hours, there was enough public comment that decreased that score, that made it quite low. And so wondered if there's, I don't know, does anybody have a recommendation?
I was gonna say, we could, if you feel strongly about that, we could approve the medical. We wouldn't require them to come back on a public hearing. We would add, if they go, should they go back and have a meeting with the, we'll figure out exactly who should be at that meeting. We could put them on old and new business for next month. But if we find out that there was just 100% support, we could vote to administratively approve the change in hours. I just want to make sure the public process is done correctly, but I don't want to put a burden on them. Business-wise. So I guess we could,
Agreed. I agree with you too. I don't want
yeah,
to stop the process, but I also just want to make sure that the public process was clear and that they weren't confused about too many things and then taking out, that kind of thing. So
I do believe former or current City Councilor Lydia Edwards did not object to the hours. It was just the delivery. Is that right, Jasmine?
Yes, that's from my understanding.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to approve adding medical at this location.
Mhm.
And do we have a second?
That's it.
I can second.
I will second. Oh, no, go ahead.
All in favor of the adding medical at this location?
Aye.
Okay. So then I'm going to make a second motion to ask that the applicant I just don't know if I want to ask them to go have another public meeting. I mean, that is difficult. We can look up what the community group is or the support on the hours. I guess,
Yeah.
Can
I guess
I
it
just
takes
have
some
them-
combing through the correspondence we received, because obviously they mentioned all three in a majority of them because they pulled out later on. So it's hard to say what percentage was hours was only the problem or the delivery, or they kind of all went in the same bucket, if you will.
I'm going to ask a motion to put the change of hours on our March agenda, no hearing, but just we can work with the applicant to figure out what information would make the board comfortable as far as whether or not this is supported, but we could take the final vote on the hours in March.
Okay. So are we
Thank you. That would
confirming
make
the
me-
hours?
I'm sorry,
I think that
Commissioner
would
Lewis.
make me feel good about at least making sure that the hours were very clear. The change of hours wasn't connected to the delivery, that the comments were specific to the change of hours. That's all I would feel comfortable with doing the administrative hearing and, I mean, whatever you recommended, as long as they go back to at least be clear with some of the public comment that we received that seemed tied together.
Okay. We will figure that process out, but we
So
will
do we want to defer the?
defer the change in hours till March.
Okay, defer change, perfect. Defer. Oh, is there a second on that?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect, none opposed. So,
Thank you,
Mhm.
fellow commissioners. I appreciate that.
Thank you,
Perfect.
Commissioner, for highlighting.
Alright, so we approve the medical portion is granted, and the applicant will defer the hours of operations till March.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so those are all the matters before the board today. Our next transactional hearing will take place on March 9th, 2022 at 1 p.m. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of their evening and see you next month.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you. Bye.